this team does not go too far without her.
Where there go the views.
Yeah, you're gonna say, yeah, we will see a drop in views for sure.
They said she was supposed to generate $1 billion this year for the WNBA.
Damn.
But she gonna be out for a couple games. People not going to them games.
Look at this, blue everywhere, blue everywhere. People are selling and they're selling fast. And the WNBA has them to blame, themselves. The WNBA can only blame themselves because from the start, they handled this terribly.
Everything the WNBA had worked so hard to build over the previous year came tumbling down like a house of cards when Caitlin Clark was sidelined due to a quad injury, and we have to wonder if it was ever about the league or was it always about one player?
We're already seeing serious consequences for the way the WNBA has handled everything and not this realization that, or I should say, not getting this realization that Caitlin Clark really right now is the WNBA. And look, there's not a lot you could change about that right in this moment, but they could have done a lot more from the beginning.
She's not, bro. For you to say she's gonna shut the whole NBA down, that's crazy.
She is, bro. The whole league is for
Caitlin Clark injury can't be COVID. That's crazy.
for 2 weeks, bro.
Cool.
Now, if she was down for the season, she might shut the whole league.
Nah, if she was down for a season, there would be some problems for sure.
If you support Caitlin Clark, please leave a comment below. Get well soon, Caitlin Clark. Let's face it, is the WNBA even a viable product without her? Are fans truly attending for fantastic basketball, or are they there because Clark is a once-in-a-generations phenomenon who covered up every structural weakness in this league?
Today, if there wasn't any worry going on in the WNBA executive offices, if there was no worry, oh, people aren't going to turn off, oh, people are still going to show up, if that was the thought that they were having up there in WNBA La La Land, well, now might be the time to hit the panic button. 48 hours after news hits that Caitlin Clark is injured and she'll be missing 2 weeks, the market has responded and the market has told the WNBA, we don't want this. We want her, but we don't want this. What am I talking about?
Tickets for the so-called rivalry game between Angel Reese and Clark in Chicago have dropped 42% in just 48 hours, from $86 to $25 in 2 days. At this pace, you could enter with a handshake and a bag of Skittles. What does that indicate about demand and the true appeal of
Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlin Clark's injury announcement, an average ticket price of $137 all the way down to $80. People are selling their tickets, definitely can't get face value, so what do? They just continue to lower and lower and lower and lower and lower the price. This isn't all resellers, folks. Hate to break it to you. A majority of these are everyday normal people. They're not flying across the pond to watch the Indiana Fever. They're flying across the pond to watch CC22. That is just the fact of the matter. People are selling their tickets and they are selling them in a hurry. When it comes to the Chicago Sky game, the marquee matchup in the WNBA, like it or love it, rivalry or not, Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, that is the marquee matchup in the WNBA, and those tickets are crashing just as well.
Don't let them fool you either. This isn't about resellers, it's about actual fans, families, and parents who were going to drive across state lines, book hotels, and buy merchandise. But they canceled everything as soon as they learned that Clark had been benched because she was the sole reason they were traveling in the first place. The league still believes that it isn't entirely dependent on one player.
Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, sophomore season in the WNBA has had the same impact as her rookie season. The level of popularity she's brought to the W has been felt in the league's finances and fan popularity, and we've gone through a lot of that with regard to, I just did a video on her economic impact and, how she was like 26.5% of the league's economic activity last year, and on and on and on. And now it's almost like there's a fire sale when it comes to ticket prices for Fever games, specifically for away games, right? Because I think what you have here, in all fairness to the people who are now the Fever fans that are selling tickets, and because a lot of people will be like, oh, well, they're abandoning the team and this isn't, and all this. But if you're making this a trip, and I think someone yesterday said to me I forget where they were going. I forget where the trip was. But it was a trip. I think they were driving, but it was still a ways. I believe there's a hotel involved. It was going to be like $3,000 to go see Caitlin Clark. Well, I think we can all understand if you're shelling out that kind of money, mainly to see a specific player, you probably don't want to do that if that player's not playing. This is why, let me put it in this perspective, because I don't see anyone talking about this.
Here's where the ridiculousness really starts. The Indiana Fever chose Sydney Cousin to start in lieu of Clark. This is a huge change from the most dynamic playmaker in women's basketball to a 34-year-old bench veteran whose numbers are not discernible without a magnifying glass. Sophie Cunningham sat while Lexi Holes inserted the entire spin, which appears to have been taken from a bingo machine.
And the Indiana Fever announced that Sydney Colson will be making the start at the point guard position while Caitlin Clark is out. Sydney Colson, not Sophie Cunningham. Sydney Colson, not Sophie Cunningham. Sydney Colson. Let me tell you my issue with this really quickly because it makes perfect sense. What was the issue with the Indiana Fever starting off this season when it came to the offense? Too slow, too lethargic, got down early. Do we think that putting Sydney Colson in that starting lineup in place of Caitlin Clark is going to help any of that, remedy any of that?
After watching Clark take this franchise from obscurity to national prominence, you would think that the organization would have a plan, but instead it seems as though they had no idea this could ever happen. If you're building momentum with Clark at the helm, why not at least try to maintain tempo, energy, and offensive flow? Or are we just throwing the playbook in the trash and hoping for the best? No strategy, no vision, no contingency.
If we were to put Sophie Cunningham in the starting lineup, at least they can sort of get a feel of how the games would go with a more fast-paced up-tempo. But they're going to be walking the ball up, they're going to be pounding it inside. With Sophie and Lexi, we've seen in the preseason that at least there's some life there, at least there's some energy there. They will inject fire in there. They will force the defensive hand putting pressure on the basket, and defensively in their own right, they're smothering you.
Tell me, what kind of billion-dollar league doesn't have a plan when its most valuable player retires? Oh, I apologize. I meant to say billion-dollar Clark. Let's face it, Caitlin Clark alone is driving this type of economic activity. Last year, she was in charge of more than 26% of the league's total revenue. That's not a player, that's a one-woman economy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And allegedly here from this report, last year she was supposed to be responsible for almost 27% of the WNBA's overall economic activity. Excuse me.
Nigga, you a fourth of the league, bro. You one person.
I need to know.
Yeah, bro.
Y'all can have a bar, but I need to
So
know.
literally, if she doesn't play,
Her
nigga,
salary
a
is
fourth of this shit is shut down.
Yeah, she needs.
Yeah, her salary, yeah.
78,000. I'm 25% of the
Yeah,
league.
she has a principal school teacher salary.
This ain't right, bro. I'm getting cheap.
I'm 25%.
But don't you worry, that shit-
She's T-Boss for sure.
They give her a RAV4 to come move.
She's T-Boss.
I'm just saying, you 25% of the league, no shade, but like the league is shut down if she shuts down.
Yeah, if she.
And how is she rewarded for officiating in such a blatantly biased manner that fans are wondering if the league wants her to fail hard fouls, ignore obvious grabs that aren't considered dirty play, and let them fester? Do you think I'm exaggerating? Take a look at the video footage from games before her injury, where Clark used heat packs during games, missing her usual range on threes, and limping subtly. The coaches didn't know she was hurt until after the MRI. How can an organization fail to keep an eye on the physical health of their golden goose? This isn't just incompetence, it's malpractice.
No one wants to shell out that kind of money for that kind of experience and then find out the stars, the main player they're there to see, even if they're the fan of the team, while still healthy, not playing because of load management. Okay, so you can understand people who maybe this is the only time they might get to see her, and if they're going to be shelling out that kind of money, why would they go? It doesn't have anything to do with not being a fan of the rest of the team or anything like that, which is where a lot of people are making it. It's a serious financial impact for a lot of people. And if the players that they really want to see aren't playing, I think we can all understand, whether it's Caitlin Clark or someone else in the NBA. And again, the NBA is having that issue. That is a big reason it's an issue. The stars put butts in the seats. Yes, it's completely skewed in the WNBA to Caitlin Clark, but in the NBA, stars put butts in the seats too.
Additionally, while everyone is busy acting as though this league isn't collapsing, let's discuss the bizarre internal response. You would think that the loss of the most valuable player in contemporary women's basketball would prompt emergency procedures. In the case of the Indiana Fevers, a business-as-usual substitution like Caitlin Clark was merely another bench rotation. In reality, this is how you react to a player whose mere existence increased your relevance. There was a full-court press of support, a PR blitz, and a display of unity, but instead there was silence and shrugs.
Right? We're looking at all these resale tickets now. It's like an absolute fire sale for this game, because apparently it's mostly Caitlin Clark fans who are probably from out of town. I'm sure there are Caitlin Clark fans in Chicago. There are Caitlin Clark fans everywhere. I think we all know that. But if you are traveling, and I did another video on this, remember, with the insane average distance that Caitlin Clark fans who were attending games in Cambridge, where they came from and how far some of them would travel. You had people driving 4 hours, 8 hours each way and what have you to go see Caitlin Clark in Cambridge. And they don't want to do that if she's not playing.
It's like watching a business lose its only paying customer and then promote the intern to CEO. Then there's the commentary from some in the media and the league trying to convince us that this isn't a big deal, that the WNBA will be fine, and that it's not all about Caitlin Clark. Excuse me, but if it's not about Clark, why did the atmosphere collapse the moment she sat down? Let's not forget Jeff Teague's deadpan reaction, which was that nobody wanted to watch the Fever if she wasn't playing. That wasn't hate, it was just honesty, the kind of honesty you get when former players drop the corporate script and tell it like it is. Even Teague was not entirely off when he joked that the league may simply shut down if Clark went on strike.
If the league should go the same way it's been going,
Yeah.
she'll generate close to
Carry the one, inflation, tariffs.
she'll get 800. She'll be worth about 800 million to the league.
And they hate on her.
So she is worth $1 billion.
That's crazy.
Essentially. If you can generate that much, fuck it, why not? Hey, get your rest up. You know
So
what I'm
like
saying?
I said, if the league will shut down for these next 2 weeks.
I'm not fucking with y'all today.
Everybody go on vacation till her choir get
I
better.
have no lip. Y'all got it today.
After the victory comment yesterday, we just gonna move on. Salute to the W.
Nah, I'm just saying, bro. She just mean that much to that league, bro.
However, the more profound question is how the players feel, because the elephant in the room is that some veterans have worked hard in this league for years with little recognition, and then Caitlin Clark shows up and all of a sudden they are performing in front of 17,000 yelling fans in NBA arenas. After she gets hurt, she poofs back to the 2,000 people, and there is awkward silence. Wrath, jealousy, animosity, and most likely all of the above, but the league hides that tension under catchphrases and rivalries that only last a month. Let's face it, this isn't a rivalry, it's a reality check.
The Fever will probably still draw well with TV ratings while Caitlin Clark's out. Not so sure about Fever away games if Fever fans have to travel, and I'm not so sure about the ratings on all the other games, because I think you got a lot of Clark fans who are tuning into those games will be like, you know what, I'm going to dial it back. I'm going to just watch the Fever until Caitlin Clark is back, and then maybe I'll go see some other games. But anyway, obviously this is huge. Going to be a lot of fallout. The longer Caitlin Clark is out, the bigger the impact is going to be, which is going to affect the CBA. It's like a whole cascading effect.
Furthermore, when the most anticipated games suddenly lose their excitement, it affects not only the players, but also the infrastructure and a system that had one task to foster the momentum, but instead buried it with bad marketing choices. Unwatchable broadcasts and press releases after games that resemble hostage footage. Meanwhile, fans are left wondering why the product is so unimpressive once more. Didn't this league feel exciting a week ago? Where did everyone go? We know where they went because they followed the only plotline that seemed genuine.